Good morning and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Morning Market Roundup with Chip Nellinger. Chip, man, there's just not a lot going on right now. It doesn't feel like. Got the China thing getting ready to possibly maybe draw back in, have a little talk or two, and try to figure some stuff out. But a whole new set of tariffs are about to take place. So, see if you can make heads or tails of that. Let me know. But it just seems like it just will not stop.
Yeah, that's kind of the reaction of the bean market. Last week we get news that we're kind of hung the carrot out to China for maybe possibly some additional talks. And, now possibly as soon as today, we're going to have another $200 billion of tariffs. Bean market and everyone else kind of scratching their head saying, okay, what's going on with that? So we were lower overnight. May have been anyway, even without this tariff stuff. Pretty good weather weekend across the Corn Belt. So corn and bean harvest picking up steam here. Yields remain pretty solid in beans. Good in corn, but a little bit of a mixed bag in areas. So that's the main overriding feature here is for the next few days, pretty clear weather. In the last few days, pretty clear weather. There are some rains coming through here mid to late week that might slow things down a little bit. But, it's that time of year. You got harvest advancing, and it's just hard for the market to do anything in that environment. You throw this tariff uncertainty in there, and, you can see why we're a little bit lower, 3 to 5 lower generally in beans and a couple cents lower in corn. Did have a little life in the wheat market. There was a frost/freeze in some of the Australian wheat growing areas here late weekend. As any frost or freeze comes, it just takes some time to figure out and assess what the damage is. But Australia was struggling anyway with supremely dry weather. They're in a pretty critical time frame for their crop. Had some cold temperatures and just don't know how much damage yet. So that was a little bit supportive to the wheat market. We were a couple cents higher in the overnight. But, other than that, it's just status quo here, as it is this time every year. Harvest is picking up steam, and it's hard for the market to do anything dramatic to the upside in that environment. The best can be said is if we just kind of grind sideways here, would kind of be the best case scenario. So far, we've held the lows from last week and the contract lows. Will they be taken out here today, tomorrow? Possibly, but kind of need some back and forth, just sideways action, and have this market take a breather. One thing I would throw out there, we're starting to hear several yield reports strolling in from Illinois in particular, all over, but Illinois in particular. And I'm not by any stretch going to criticize USDA or say they're wrong, but the fact of the matter is they have Illinois 13 bushels better than a year ago. And there's nothing from anyone I've talked to, and it's been many producers that would lead me to believe that Illinois is 13 bushels better than a year ago. Yet. Now, it could pick up. We get deeper into this. It's good. Don't hear me say it's bad. It's good. In some areas, it is as good, maybe a touch better than a year ago. But 13 bushels, I'm not seeing that evidence yet, and that's a pretty high bar. So my point with that is there's still going to be questions with this thing all through it until the final January crop report. This crop's not in the bin yet. A little depressing right now, but, we'll get past this and we will have a bounce. We always do. Even in the biggest crop years, we have post-harvest bounces. We're going to see that again. So we just got to have a plan and be ready. Livestock market's a little bit mixed. Cattle exploded higher Friday. Strong technical action. We talked about that. We finally got through that trend line and resistance. The market blew up higher. The October was limit up, sharply higher in the rest of the deferred live cattle and feeders. Hogs more of a mixed bag in here. They're just slopping sideways and just real ugly, sloppy trade. But cattle market putting a nice rally in. Cattle feedlot producers out there keep this in the forefront. This is probably an opportunity. Don't let this slip away. I'm not saying we don't have some more upside. We likely do, but be ready to take advantage of further rally in the cattle market here.
Has any of the stuff that you've seen so far I mean, I know it's been just the weekend here, and we're kind of figuring out what damage has been done and those kind of things. But as far as Florence goes, have you heard anything or seen anything in the market that would suggest that there's some moves being created because of that?
Not yet. I mean, obviously, when you talk about some of the rainfall totals they've had, 10 inches on the low side, 30 inches on the high side, there are a lot of crop in that area. So there was unlikely some damage. To me, though, which if you're right in that path is the worst case scenario, it seemed like it was, which was part of the problem with so much rainfall, kind of isolated to the same path. It just grinds and grinds and grinds on that same path. So there is unlikely some crop damage there, but I think it's a little bit early to assess the damage. And, I wasn't probably as widespread maybe as what was feared, but certainly in North Carolina and South Carolina, there would have been some damage. Other things set to move through, kind of the upper Ohio Valley here the next few days. So there's still going to be a lot of rain in that thing. West Virginia, Pennsylvania, up to the East Coast. So it's not over yet. And if you're right in the path, it's not good. But it certainly wasn't the worst case as it relates to crops. But certainly there was some damage there. But bottom line, it's a little bit too early, Casey. That was a long answer. But it's probably a little bit too early to figure out exactly what the damage was crop-wise from that hurricane.
Do you see pork prices going up with the Smithfield and Tyson being shut down, the two biggest plants they have pretty much nationwide there in North Carolina? You see that maybe shooting up a little bit?
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword. I think it certainly helped a little bit in the short run here. But, the backside of that is you're backing supplies up a little bit too. So when they do open back up, there could be a little bit of a glut. Any disruption like that, you're likely going to see a little bit of support. But, hopefully they can get things back to normal fairly quickly. But, anytime that's a major area. And that's part of it too. I think they're still trying to assess a lot of hog facilities there, massive amounts of hog production in North Carolina, and there's major flooding. And so it's not just the plants, but maybe some production facilities as well. There's going to be some logistical issues on the pork side without question here for a little while.
Yeah. Well, plenty of stuff going on as usual, Chip. So if guys want to work on their plan or help get one developed or just have you look over what they've got going on, how to do that?
Yeah, best way is just call our office, 309-550-7213. We'd love to chat with you and just kind of review what your plan is and show you how we might be able to help you.
Right on, Chip. Well, till tomorrow, Chip, have a good day, and we'll talk to you then.
Okay, you do the same. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, thanks, man.